All right, good morning. Today is Sunday, March 24th. I'm Little Drunk Kitten moderating this wonderful session. Camp Curb Appeal goes beyond frontage, how to polish the turd of RV walls and containers. Who hates dark, faceless, boring RV walls? Yeah, we all. Rhetorical question. Well, I have three amazing panelists here today who are going to be discussing some ideas and best practices. Whether we can come up with a solution together as a think tank would be great. We're going to be taking some of these ideas and sharing it with a larger group later this afternoon. So without further ado, let me introduce the panelists. Over here we have Candy Ass, Mayor, CDS Council and the Mayor of Blissfit's Retirement Village. She's been burning since 1997, brings her twins to the playa, and is passionate about fostering and nurturing an environment that helps people spread their wings to become better versions of themselves, which is awesome. Next to her is Disco, the camp founder and lead for Camp Corny, master organizer of all things, burning for 8 years, Camp Corny for 5. And over here is HRH, the new mayor of Disorient, who has been placing their camp since 2011. That's correct. That's right. So, yeah, I'm just going to get everybody started. Tell us about your camp's approach to the curb appeal, not just frontage, walls, too. I'm going to set the speaking stick here, and let's get going. KDS, you're up.
Awesome. Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Hasn't this been amazing?
Yes.
I mean, I remember the first symposium that I went to that was in Burning Man's HQ when it was off Market Street. There was like 20 people sitting in the kitchen, and they were talking about how to pack a truck. And I was like, here we are. And like, to be part of the programming and really like fighting for a lot of topics.
You guys gave out free pizza back then.
This is true.
Yeah, so I missed the pizza, okay?
Hey, you got free breakfast.
Like this morning.
Was that the Korean pizza, the Indian pizza? Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty awesome to be where we are, and a very tumultuous, critical mass. We're turning a corner as a community year or time. This is growing pains. This is growing pains time. I'm feeling it. As part of the solutions and part of the problem. I say that, so Blissfit's Retirement Village, we founded in 2008. Was it 9? It's so blurry since 97, only 2 years. And then after babies, like, it's all freaking blurry. But our camp, it's been the same size since we started. We're now in our 11th year. 160 to 175 people, but as far as RVs, we vacillate between 30, 33. 33 is our absolute max. We will not do more, which is actually going to be less this year, and we'll stay that way. But in that, it's always been a point of contention how to build this map and how to make it appealing, and it's always this thing about focusing on your frontage and your curb appeal, and having it open and whatnot. So we got to a point where we dialed it in a couple years ago. There isn't any part of our camp that is private. You could literally like drive a car through the entirety of our camp. It's like a horseshoe shape. I actually made a drawing because I should have brought a freaking picture. But sweat. Like here's our frontage, and it's very active, and then you can literally drive through your camp. But what we started to do, or it's a village, I should say. We've got this little toddling village back here with a couple RVs, and there and then we lined our side streets with RVs. There's service road, and there's like tents and all kinds of more shit sprinkled in here, but to give you a frame of where the RV situation is. Okay. Here's our side streets. I was under the, we're open. We're really doing the thing here. It's our focal point, the lighting and the art, and it's day and night. It's beautiful. What I really didn't take into consideration was what that does to our neighbors and people driving down the streets, especially at night. We're still part of the problem. and we've been trying to polish this turd for years, doing fabric sales or putting up Christmas lights, and I'm always like, this still looks like shit. Like, it really looks like shit. I actually thought I wanted to have this panel. This was part of like my programming, and I asked Irina to do it. She's like, just do it with me. I got you. Like, we'll do it together, because like I really want to have this conversation. We've been trying to find a solution for years that is beautiful and really, is contributing to the city. But like, what is that? And this is almost like a call to action. Like, there's so many amazing people in this community, like technologically inclined people in this community that come up with like lighting or like programming ideas, like whatever it could be, that I feel like it's almost a think tank more than looking to us as like leaders with these solutions of like, let's find these together, and what can we do? Because part of me is like some technical or data person, inventor, like in Silicon Valley, is gonna come up with this thing that they can have like manufactured, and burners now can put like this beautiful art or lighting walls together that are solving the problem of the RV wall. Who knows where this can go? But I'm open to all the possibilities as we're growing in our growing pains. One of the things that, yes, I should stop, right?
1 minute.
1 minute. Oh, cool. I'm good. We finally got to what I feel like is the solution this year for us, and it's open to invitation for anybody else, and that's all the people listening in. If you want to contact me about it and get further information or get in on it, you can email campsupport@burningman.org. It's been part of the CDS team. We're going to do 11-foot LED cherry blossom trees. They're freaking gorgeous during the day, and they're beautiful at night.
Are you making them, or
No,
are you ordering them?
We're ordering them.
Are they makeable?
Looking into it, and this is my husband because he's an art director, so he's like, okay, like he knows how to build all the things, or work with teams to build all the things. He's like, this is a fucking hot mess. And so we actually looked at a couple different kinds, because they're friends of ours like that have them for like festivals and things that they do. And my husband and I both agreed. We're like, look, the way that this makes sense from like an operations or logistics, it's like a Christmas tree almost, like those fake Christmas trees, because they just, they have arms you stick in, and and then you can just plug them in, and like rebar, stick it down, and you're like, it's golden. So it's not like it's taking a F ton of like man hours.
So can you ask how much are they for 11 feet?
So what we decided was like basically for like per RV, which is going to be much more shrunken down. Like we're like, what do we do? Like 4 on each side? I'm like, dude, no. Like we actually need to do. We're for what we're doing is like, I think we're at 10. 10 makes an impact. It's like almost 2 per RV.
Okay.
We'll talk to you afterwards.
Let's hear
How
from
much
you.
are they?
So yeah, I mean, we're looking at it's looking like if we did like a quantity of 10, it's probably about $5,000. It's not horrific, but the more you get, the cheaper they get.
Yes.
So I'm like, wow, there's a bunch of camps that did this, or camps that were near each other. Can you imagine driving down the street at Burning Man with like cherry blossom lights?
Yes.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm done.
We'll come back to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Now we're going to hear from Disco and hear what Camp Corny is doing.
All right, I'll pass down this laminated. I have like laminator is like the best tool in my toolbox.
Yeah.
It's still dusty, but it exists. Yeah. So Camp Corny, we had this immersive experience with spirit animals. So we're a spirit animal adoption center. We have a pile of spirit animals, 2,000 spirit animals, and we have state-of-the-art technology to match you with your spirit animal. And you jump in this pile, you pull out your spirit animal, your dreams, and then we perform a small operation, put a party pole up its butt, and then you dance with it, because they eat dance, so you got to feed them a bunch of dance. And so we have this immersive experience, and part of our design had to take into account, like it's a linear thing that has to bring you through the camp. And so we're trying to pull people in through the camp. And the biggest difference for us this year is we're on a corner. So we have 3 frontages.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we were sitting there like scratching our heads. First of all, being bold enough to actually submit a corner, just like a diagonal design on a corner. because obviously if you're diagonal and you don't get on a corner, then you have to show up and you have to completely change your design. You can't. But that was a game changer for us, just because of the way it made us think. Because we do have our biggest wall of RVs is to our neighbor, and then we basically use some tactics that were cheap but really effective. So 10-foot PVC pipe with ripstock. It's the material that you use for parachutes. And we had a seamstress in town for $100. She made us 80 flags. And they're these long, skinny flags, and they have tassels that come off the top. And what we use those for is when you have to have something that's not beautiful, at least grab someone's eye and pull them to where you want it to go. And use height. So anything that we can put a flag on top of our shade structures, we have like the black rock shade structures, and on the top, if you turn the 5 points up, you can put a flag in and cinch it down. And so we have flags that go up, kind of you can see our camp from a ways away. And the flags are great because they're cheap, and if you do them, like repetition is really useful. You can pull people's eyes somewhere away from the stuff that you really don't want them to focus on. And then the motion and the sound of flags too are really beautiful. Just when you have 80 flags in camp, one of the favorite things of our campers is just how it sounds. Yeah, you just hear that flapping, and it's just really very, very peaceful and grounding. And then having an entrance. We have 25-foot tall flame-throwing unicorns at our entrance. I mean, that's kind of a crazy thing. But just having something that says this is where you come in, and making sure that someone feels welcome without you having to say anything. That was really important to us. Is we want someone riding by on their bike, whether they stopped or not, to smile and just feel like they are welcome to come in at some point. Like, you're not going to get them every time they go by, right? But
will you say that again? That was such a gem. That people feel welcome to come in.
Anytime. Yeah, I mean, we want people to smile when they're riding by camp. Just deliver some joy. We call our camp our joy delivery vehicle, and our nonprofit's called the Department of Joy, the DOJ. And so, just like if you so if you those are some of the tactics that we use to really help out, and they're cost effective, right? And it makes it seem like your camp is fancier than it really is. And the one other tip that we learned this last year is just having a color palette. So we picked 2 colors, right? And everything is those colors, right? We're all white with a purple accent. And we couldn't believe how much of an impact that made, because it just makes it feel like everything is cohesive, and it does help with like line of sight and where you're pulling your eyes. We paint our containers white, and we put the 10 principles on it in purple. So just things like that really help out a lot. So.
Awesome.
It's all right. You're up.
At your service campers. Well, Disorient maintains a great history of all of its urban plans every year at disorient.com. You can go back and look at all of our urban plans. One of the things, I've been doing placement at our camp since 2011, and I mean, one of the things I'm particularly proud of is how our camp looks not only from the sides, but from space. So if you kind of take a look at Black Rock City every year, you can kind of see where Disorient is. Which I kind of feel like if you're looking at a petri dish, you're like, uh-oh, something's happening there. So we, take great effort to make sure that there's balance in camp and there's entrance. We've actually never done the wall of RVs around the perimeter of our camp. We bring our RVs in and we use them as spokes. So when we arrive at camp, we flag and we create like concentric circles that our RVs then park into, so that you don't get that wall and you get a circuitous service access. One of the things we do though, because RVs are unappealing and we like to discourage their use, a lot of our campers own their own RVs, so we do not support really the use of having your RV dropped in. If you're bringing an RV, you have to drive it yourself. There are exceptions, but they must be approved. We don't just allow people to ship their living space into camp, so you have to drive it in yourself. And we also make our RV people decorate their RV on the inside and the outside. So our curb appeal goes beyond just like, if you're living in an RV, we already feel like you're burning wrong, so these are the ways that we want you to change it. And people have been making like banners of themselves so they can identify their RV. We made these woven mats last year that are about 6 by 8 feet. People tape those over their windows. So you can see there's a lot of our color combination, which has been very effective, is orange, which is a contraction of fluorescent pink and fluorescent orange. So you'll see a lot of our RVs decorated like that. In years past, we've used mylar, so you could create this like very beautiful reflection of playa. That's been another way that we've kept RVs looking good. I think like one of our successes though is not relying on an RV like as a wind blocker. You know, we embrace the wind. We're not afraid of it. We know that it's also an ineffective sound blocker because you're always in between Bullhorn and Crying Baby Camp and Burning Man, so there'll be no sleep for anyone. As soon as I get a request for a quiet place, I'm like, you're going to my butt dance floor.
Always. Reset.
Bottom of the line.
Great dance floor.
Thank you. So we empower, our campers to create and maintain the aesthetic that we expect in camp in their own living quarters, and as a result, we've never had like that expectation of privacy. We do use vehicles along the perimeter of our camp, but those you can walk through and get past and are less of an eyesore. We also maintain a couple of different secret spots in our camp that you can only get to from the sides, like our speakeasy and things, to keep it interesting and to keep the walls open, invite people in.
That's fantastic. So I think what we're going to do is just do a little bit of a deeper dive into everyone's story, and then open it up to questions, because I'm sure everyone would love to have a discussion. So, yes, you have another 4 minutes to do a deeper dive into the cherry trees or whatever else you want to.
I don't really need a deeper dive.
All right.
I literally said what I needed to say.
Well, then, great.
I'm here as a student.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to put this in the center now. Hopefully it'll...
Are these lit? Do you have to have power to them? That'd be a large consideration.
Yes.
What are you doing to power them?
Well, where they're going, like literally we're running extension cords. You can plug them right out, right into the exterior of an RV.
Okay.
Right. So that's what I was going to say. You can put them along the side of the RV and then power them from the RV, so you don't need to run an extra extension cord over to them.
Nice.
Yeah. It kind of solves this little microcosm in itself.
Right.
That is good. I like that. Yep.
And so are the RVs parked close to each other, or are they separated out? I couldn't quite see from your.
Yeah, they're stacked like frickin' sardines the way we do it, so that it allows our front to be as open as it is and as interactive as it is, and allows enough space around the circumference of this dome. The dome is we had a cover made by a friend of ours who's a famous graffiti artist. So it looks like a moon, and then at night it's got water lights on it. So it's this thing that draws people in, like, that's that. And then they it's like where we do our meals and stuff. Super prefer camp, but like it's open, so people come in and like, what is this space? And then we're feeding them and giving them drinks and stuff. It's like not. They feel like they've walked into this space that maybe they shouldn't be, and then they get met with all this love and aloha, and they're like, "Oh, you're not an evil turnkey," like, And then we also have we kind of fit this one from Costume Cult, where we have a costume rack in our dome that really started for me purging my closet because we were having kids, and my walk-in closet became the nursery, and I was like, "All this shit should go to Burning Man." And we have this one-for-one policy. Like anybody that comes into camp, like actually Dr. Deb last year was like, "I'm taking this." Like People come in and they can take anything. Like we try to do like a one-to-one policy, so people like take something and put something in its place. You know, it's kind of
gifting. So you can look at the RV wall as a multifaceted problem. So let's look at the cultural direction setting questions and things that we've been having. So there's a reason that people do RV walls. They serve great purposes. They give privacy. You've got to put them somewhere. They provide wind blocks and those things. We've already talked about that. I think you can just leave that in the middle.
Yeah, I think we can.
The other way of looking at it is let's look at why people hate them. So there's a good thing and a bad thing. People hate them because they make the appearance of exclusivity.
Right.
They're ugly as you drive down the street. And you pointed out you put your RVs butt to nose so that you have provided essentially a barrier so nobody could walk between them. That's part of the problem too, I think.
there's enough room that people can walk through
Oh, okay.
all the time.
Because in the plug-and-play camps, they literally butt them against each other so no one can drive or walk or
Well, you
do
could,
like
yeah,
anything
and I think
else.
you couldn't drive through them.
Not drive, it's the wrong word.
But like, it's
drive
more
a bike.
done for a
I didn't drive a bike. But the point is, so those are the problems. We need to talk about what people perceive as the problems and decide whether they're actually okay or not. But the beauty thing is that everybody hates the ugliness.
Right.
So if we can solve the ugliness with some decorative things like flags, or like I saw some beautiful in some of the slideshows yesterday. I saw some beautiful fabric things that people had put up. That was really good. And I
That's
like
lipstick on a pig.
That was my problem with the fabric, where it's like,
Sorry?
That's like lipstick on a pig.
It is.
But the pig has a reason to be
The pig's
right.
purpose.
But the
Boy
thing is,
Scouts
so
going
for us, we
everywhere.
did the fabric sales. But like, we're like, okay, this is really cool. We know these colors, and they overlapped, and it took fucking ever to do it.
Well,
Fine, but at night, like just having like Christmas lights through it, it just looked like the lipstick on the pig. Of like, we threw something together that wasn't an afterthought. We actually put thought into it. It wasn't good enough. For me and for the community at large to drive down a street as art wasn't good enough.
Okay.
We can do better.
So,
was where we were.
I'd like to, both of you, about creating the tunnels of light through the city, and that's what I've been doing with my camp. But has anyone experienced? I mean, you've seen the wrapped cars, the Red Bull car, do they wrap RVs?
Yes.
They do.
It's real expensive.
It costs a lot.
Yeah, can I just ask?
Upwards of 10 grand.
Yes.
Yeah.
So some of this stuff to me, we have RV campers in our own camp. Would you rather have people who drive an RV to Burning Man spending 5 hours decorating their RV, or do you want those people to get out of their RV, go plug into your camp, and go work on art projects that are out on the open playa?
That's also part of it too.
So what is this is a huge amount of energy and resources that we're putting into something. It's still going to be an RV underneath the mylar or the flags or the cherry trees or whatever it is. And what do you actually want those people contributing their efforts
became
to?
a problem for us too, and the people that own and drive in their RVs. And I was like, hey, new rule in camp: if you're spending more than like 3 hours setting up your personal space, you're doing it wrong within our camp. You have a responsibility to setting up our frontage, climbing our dome, and dropping all the lighting so we can get the skin on. We're like in crunch time. Our frontage opens, Monday morning. Like, get to it. You don't get a whole day to like deck out your shit. Set up, do what you need to do. 3-hour window, because you're needed here. That's why you're in here.
Question from over here.
So I'm with Beach Charge and also with Golden Guy Alley, and we were asked by placement to have a curb appeal on both sides, and we'd never done that. We're like, yes, great. So we brainstormed, and we did a used car sales, and we researched like the colored flags. We brought in neon signs that we cut up, and we literally had our vehicles for sale. We got like used car sales, like suits on and some mustaches. We were running out there trying to sell our vehicle, and we were thinking, how fun would it be to have like used car sales lots all over the playa? Like, we're happy to. This idea is definitely shareable, and we're happy to like have. It was really, really fun, and yet we still have to up our game on the other side and really and that's why I'm here, is to really jump in and like really bring in everybody. But the backside was really awesome.
Just you have the thing that does this.
Yeah.
What's really funny is
We don't have power this year. Yeah.
we actually talked about
makerspaces, we didn't have any. Our Tory gate blew over and fell down, and so this year we're going to build some signs, and I'm doing laser cut lanterns to really draw people into the alleyway to like make sure that we want people to kind of not know where we are, but we want them to know where we are, you know, kind of thing. So,
So, a couple things. One is I'm with Virgin Gilman. We have a lot of RVs in camp because we need to block off the area so that we funnel people to the front. Otherwise, they try to sneak in from the back. And for us, that's a major problem. Many years ago, when I started bringing my RV, I made an EL wire sign, which is the First Amendment some of you may have seen. It's a blue scrawled EL wire. It's 4x6, and I hang it on the side of my RV. And it's not a lot, but it's something. Every week, someone will stop by and stare. I go, "Oh, that's the Constitution, Dan," or something like that. But at least it gets their eyes away from it. This year, well, for a couple of years, because we're on a corner, the org has been pushing us to try to beautify camp. And what we have sort of tentatively decided on is making printed vinyl banners, large vinyl stuff. We have some photographers in camp and some artists in camp, and we found a source in Los Angeles that will print rather large banners, and we're looking at an expense total of somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 to basically cover the exterior of our entire structure, which is about 4,000 square feet, with artwork. Now, I haven't figured out how we're going to light it yet. But we're also thinking about doing, it's not that hard. You can get EL wire strip lights for nothing these days. Buy them out of China. But what you can also do is you can use those banners on RVs. It's relatively easy to mount stuff either to the awning rails or to the
which is good for decommodification.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
that's really that's
Another boundary.
yeah.
So we have that facade, and our problem is we have a 20 by 30 facade. We were across from you at Genital Portrait Studio.
Oh, yeah.
And we can't keep the damn thing clean. So you can't see any of our artwork by day 3. So we set it up on Saturday. By Monday, it looks like shit. Everybody has told me what to do. Somebody, I mean, because that's what ours is. We're a daytime camp. We can't even see our stuff in the daytime. If we're trying to light ourselves up at night, the L wire's not working, the lights were shining on. You can't read it. You don't even know what's up.
That was going to be one of the things that I wanted to say. Yesterday in the slideshow, Comfort and Joy, is there anybody here from Comfort and Joy? In the slideshow, and this is really hard to accomplish, is Comfort and Joy has really got it dialed in where it looks amazing during the day, and it's like watching Avatar, and at night. It's both beautiful in the day, and it was part of the slideshow yesterday, and I was hoping that maybe some of you saw it because of the lighting effect. It's like watching Avatar. You know, in the daytime it looks one way, and then at night it was just as beautiful. So that is what you think might look good in the day could be like shit at night. So that is something.
Or by day 5.
Or uninviting. Yes, exactly.
So are you saying the dust sticks to the artwork and then?
Yeah, we clean it every year before we come up here, and it just sticks to whatever that vinyl stuff is. And we take
There's some more
There's a
porous
spray
material
you
that
can
you
use.
can.
They're actually, it's a non-UV, and the name escapes me. We were talking about that. There is a spray, an overcoat that you can just shake it, and everything kind of just falls off.
It's not like Rain-X for it's like a Rain-X for Windows type idea. So we have tried something like that, but
it protects against the UV lights, which are really UV rays.
But ours is the dust. The dust is just.
But if you just shake it,
the porous vinyl that air can circulate through. That's
our really one. So it's already 20 by 30 feet. So
right. Okay.
we already fucked up. So here we go, guys.
I wanted to highlight what you were saying, which is content is a great, having something interesting to read or experience is a great way to make something that's ugly at least useful.
Yes.
And so that's why we put this guy named Wix. He came up with a logo for every principle. And he open sourced it for any TCOs.
Exactly why you're on this panel. That, when I saw last year, I was like, doing it the F right. Yes.
Yeah. So he made these beautiful logos for each of the principles. And so that's what's on our shipping container. We just paint it white. You have to use a special paint, DTF paint, metal paint. And these vinyls cost us nothing.
Wait, are your containers brought in through OSS?
No, we use a Brad.
Pipe.
Yeah. So But by putting the principles out there and making that part of this big, ugly 40-foot container,
It's actually,
I like it.
if you
I
have a
like
45-footer, we may paint, that's a great idea.
content's
I like
a
it.
great way to like, they don't even see the container anymore, you know?
I make pink heart.
Yeah, nothing painted
We're at
before.
Symposium,
It's tan.
and being that usually on the corner, and we're always trying to do something where we can incorporate our side and the rear back in the back area. This last year, we decided to try something a little different and more interactive. We had a mural painted by one of our campaigns from France, and she does like all this beautiful artistry. So we did that, and then we also added this wall where we gifted pink heart necklaces. Put it all on the wall, about 150 of them, and people could just take or leave little like prayer messages and things like that. And we got a lot of really good.
That was on the slideshow yesterday.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. Brilliant.
But it was the first time we've done that because we limit our RVs because we just don't like that wall feeling. We want it to be an open camp. We want people to come in, but privacy issues, we have to protect our area. Now we're just trying to branch out, so like the LED lights sound like an awesome idea. Beautiful, especially close to Esplanade, like having more lights and things like that. So thank you for that tip. I'm here trying to get way more information so we can make it more interactive again.
And LEDs are much easier to power than even like regular little Christmas light stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah.
We use LED spotlights that clip on the bottom of
Yeah.
our vinyl, and then we also, for cleaning the inside, every couple days, if it's a bad dust storm, we actually bring a leaf blower and we blow it.
yeah.
So our vinyl, we actually blow with a leaf blower every couple days, and it cleans it all off, and it cleans all the lights off, and that's.
Do you, that's my thing. Do you guys have a leaf blower?
No.
So
It works.
We have a noodle that we're out there
Or
trying to
Dustbuster.
Or a wet vac, you can do
full
reverse.
frontage
Oh,
that
yeah.
we've got.
I have a shop vac.
Shop vac, yeah, shop vac. Shop vac.
Yeah.
Just
So what
clean
I
it.
want
We need a leaf blower.
Yeah, no, I'll get the leaf blower.
We have this
Back to
problem
what he
with-
was saying, though, it is a good thing that everyone understands why RVs are where they are, because we are on a corner and we are a wind cell if we don't have two RVs blocking us. Why our RVs are there, we are running into a problem that 2 people in a huge RV is not gonna go. We need 5 people for RV or something. It's kind of
Yeah,
over
no, you
right
gotta
now,
get the density down.
It is. It's why they're there, and we're an adult theme. At first, we had to have the walls until we got the facade because we're 18 plus, and you can't have kids able to wander through. So we're now had it open, and now have reasons why we have to close it again. The wind was one. We learned that the hard way. People avoiding, the Me Too thing. The 18 plus was a big thing. We had to have IDs on every single person because any 17-year-old girl in our thing, we're girls, right? Or boys. But so they're coming back. So we're having the problem of how do we become open, fix our problem of wind and 18 plus issues. So that's another.
Actually, I have a question for the group. What we've done on basically our entire corner, because the dome is sort of set back, those of you that if you were to look at that picture over there, for example, the circle on the upper left quadrant would be sort of where the dome is. And because we have so much traffic, most of the front, the surrounding L is all bike parking. And we've been having trouble for years with bikes going out on the street. Last year we bought a bunch of green trash fence, which is exactly the same as the orange stuff the org uses. And we put it all the way around the edge and we sort of funnel people to the entrance where they get their ID checks. We're trying to figure out now a way to make that green trash fence look like something that's not green trash fence. We can't really figure out a way to light it because the bikes break the lights. We've been thinking about hanging art on it, but because it's trash fence, it doesn't have the wind resistance. And we're afraid it'll rip out of the ground, so we're open. Anybody that's got any ideas on that?
I mean, literally, what if we as a community, in solving this problem, and this is just like my one example because that's all I've got so far, but like, what if us as a community is like, oh my gosh, yeah, these beautiful trees. We're in the middle of freaking nowhere, and like there's these trees, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. There's like weeping willow trees that are LED. They come in all these different colors. What if like all of us as a community was like, trees is our solution?
How are they moving? How moving are they? If they've got
So
and storage.
The leaves aren't really leaves; they're little plastic. It's all connected. So yeah, after a couple years, I would imagine that those little plastic cherry blossoms that the LED lights specifically sit in are going to start getting crunchy and break off.
Right.
I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah.
But they're not actually like moopy little like leaves that you get on
Okay.
the face.
I would warn you to LED strings, depending on how they're wired. They can be like Christmas lights where if you break one, none of them work, or if you break one, the other ones continue to work. My concern about something like that, because of the area that we have to cover, is it's cost prohibitive and it's space prohibitive. We have everything, we have our entire camp in a 45-foot trailer, and it is packed. I mean, there is not room for a gnat in that thing.
Operation Channel there.
It's just insane.
That's why the flags are awesome. Because
Yeah,
they
the
don't
flags
take the fabric doesn't take space.
Yeah, roll them up and stick them.
Kind of along the lines of what you were saying too, is we had, like, for the fire lines, this was kind of bad. This is a really bad example and not to be followed, is because of the fire, what we did is we, I'm not sure it was any kind of wire, it was rope. We clotheslined some people. And we had flags on it, but not enough lighting for those at night. And it was for fire lanes, and these were people that wanted to just drive through our camp on their bikes. So I behoove you, if you have any kind of like, for the fire lines, not only to flag it for the day, light it at night, because these people ended up getting hurt. And I mean, it was in our camp, and we thought we were doing okay. It wasn't enough. We thought it was, they were inebriated, it was complicated for the fire line, whatever. But I behoove everybody to think of safety, especially when it comes to, any kind of lines or ropage or anything like that.
Yeah, I've gotten taken out by guys.
Yeah. Even the stakes. Yeah, even like staking, stuff, right?
Question.
How do you secure your vehicles? I love the flag like that.
Question is, how does Disco secure the flags?
So we switched from rebar to lag bolts for everything but our flags.
What?
Lag bolts.
So the only thing that we use rebar for anymore is flags, and so if you get a 4 foot and you drive it down one of the slammers, if you put a part of the design of our flags, they're very skinny and tall, so you can put a 10-foot PVC pipe on there with the flag on it. Securing the flag to the PVC is the hard part. It won't fly away. You just drop it on there. And if you start to put it on top of something else that has elevation, then you need to cinch it down.
Question over here and then over there. Go ahead.
We're a first-year camp, although if you've been going to Burning Man for a while, for the last 13 or 14 years, you've probably heard our sound systems out there. We do the Opulent Temple sound system, Celtic Chaos. So we're coming out this year as a camp instead of as a crew that's doing sound. And we already had so for working with all these other camps over the years and paying attention to what I've seen the comments, so we already had a plan to have, being that the sound system would be out on the playa side and we have a separate camp on the other side of the road, already had a plan to have the whole street frontage on that side of the road be, shade and seating and open to, for people to come in all on that side of the road. And then probably planned on, after being at this, I figured out up the game on the side views of it. But usually every place I've ever camped at Burning Man has been somewhere where at some point in time there's just thousands of people right in that section. And then when I hear everybody talking about having their camp open and whatnot, I'm still kind of like trying to strike the balance in my head of we should have a portion of our camp that's open to everybody, but I don't know. You're a part of the big sound crew, and you say you kind of open up your camp. Do you not get people that just kind of flood through there when at different times, or
what does that look like?
It does happen.
Yeah.
It does happen. I mean, we're inviting people into the front of our camp, and I mean, there's no private area. I mean, we have good faith.
Just go for it.
I mean, I found somebody in my tent. I'm an avid tenter. My family is, and we found somebody in our tent one night. Thank God our children were not there. But it happens. It's a good. I mean, for us, because we can tell who does not belong because they're not in camp colors, so we're immediately like what the fuck are you doing wearing blue in this area? Right? So that's kind of our guilt.
And everybody's kind of experienced with learners, you know. Like when you initially, I mean, I'm sure this happened to everybody, you initially get your group together and then you look over and there's 2 people over there that you've never seen in your life and they're like, yeah, we're part of your camp, and we're like, and who are you? I mean, I'm sure we're not alone, so that does happen.
I was just going to add to just really quick that what you were saying about spacing and open. When we opened up our camp completely, it became so much more manageable and attainable as a collective microcosm of this community. It was so much easier and so much safer. There weren't blind spots. And in our communications with camp of what we like to, we laughingly call it Dome Land Security. Dome Land Security. and it's because everybody's welcome. It's like, you know, if you see like somebody that looks rogue or, you know, that's like rogue, you're like, hey, hi.
It happens.
This is,
It
you
does
know,
happen.
Are you
I have people that come and camp in our space. Like, I call it my perimeter search, where every morning I'm up, I'm like, who's there?
Yeah.
You know, I have to do a perimeter search, like on the hour almost, just to make sure.
And it does come back to communication for sure.
Yeah, we do that thing where we're like, hey, are you friends with somebody at camp, or, you know, like, you try to mitigate it easily.
We had a comment from that gentleman.
I'm also one of the DMV council members, and it's really, really often that I heard people talk about fabric. If you use fabric, test your edges. One of the reasons a lot of new vehicles get rejected is because of fabric coming off the edge, and they're having to tear stuff off or just test it. Comment about light bulbs. My camp's been using light bulbs for so long. It's like it's scary that people are still using rebar, and we have found ways to use light bulbs for everything, including flagpoles. Almost a conduit is great. But what you have to do is you just, like the light bulbs have like a 6-point head, you just have to touch the edges, the point with a grinder, just a tad bit. Doesn't affect them going in and out, but once you do that, there's smaller PVC, conduit, all that stuff can go over the top of them. You get longer light bulbs, so you're using black rock shade. You can get footers, you can get all kinds of things. You don't have to use rebar for that, still use light bulbs. But you just get longer light bulbs, you put them in 8 inches, and they're plenty strong. You can put a 10-foot light bulb on that.
Yeah, it's laziness on our part to not, on the flats on the outside, to still deal with rebar. And the only reason, the thing that prevented the whole injury side for us is getting a remover. There's a tool that you use, it just pulls it right out. Because it's injury zone. Like it's
Some of our campers need hard work, so we still rely on rebar to provide that experience.
Outside of this, if you want to know about using light bulbs,
that's a team job.
I am like curious.
And there's good places in Oakland to get light bulbs that are so much cheaper than mine.
Did you bring cards? Do you have the email?
I have an email. I could probably give you one of my cards and afterwards.
I wanted to ask a question about security and safety. We unfortunately have had reports of thefts from RVs, and I was wondering if you guys could weigh in on anything you're proactively doing to try to prevent that from happening. It's happened, I think, sadly, the past few years we've had some reports of break-ins. And
you know, the city evolves because that's what it does. Theft is definitely good. One year it was the hitch on our truck. So, and nobody noticed. And when we went to hitch our kitchen trailer to one of our 5 tons, we were standing. This was on Tuesday. We're like, all right, let's not go.
No way.
Oh my God.
No way.
That was fun. So I mean, P.S. Now when as part of our ops protocol, it's like great, and everything gets detached. Take off that hinge. It goes inside of the jockey box that gets locked on the truck, that's now part of our protocol. But as far as RVs are concerned and how we deal with it being open, is we always, I don't know if you have a camp mom, somebody that's always on in your camp. We always, there's always somebody that's on the bias. And I have a stunt double that's my mom. everybody kind of longs, because we communicate that rolling out to, like, all this communication happens before we get to Burning Man. And we're also, like, most of us have been coming for over 10 years together. We also did a thing where I was like, I don't want to like put wristbands on people, like that's super fucking weird. But like, how do you know? Like, because there's sometimes like like we call them cousins. Somebody brings somebody with them that they don't know. Like, how do you do that? We ended up solving it with we call them the koala bracelets. Like it's a little beautiful red beaded bracelet. It looks like everybody's part of the koala. But that's like our like very subtle way to go, okay, this is somebody that's camping with us. I may not have recognized this person, but they've been indicted as part of this camp with a koala bracelet. That's not obnoxious or toxic, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of the way that we were able to do it.
So speaking about security and watching and open camps and things like that, we have a real paranoia around undercover agents coming into our camp and coming all the way to the back.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know if it's realistic or not, but it's been ingrained in me from the first day of Burning Man.
It's real.
It's real. So I've never actually seen one. So my point is that we have a real ethos of making sure we know we have a 100% camp, and we have new campers every year. So it's an issue. We have an issue of keeping track of all our campers, and we actually challenge people nicely. But how do you have an open camp and not deal with that problem?
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
Okay. So what we do is we have little rubber bracelets made for all our campers, and they glow in the dark, and we use those not only for camp IDs, but when they're doing a dome shift, we tell people that are in the orgy dome, if you need help, if you need to find somebody, just find somebody who wore these little bracelets, and that's one of us. But we also have a second set that we make, so if like somebody wants to bring their friend that comes and helps out or just hangs out with us, we have like friend of the camp bracelets, we give those out as well. The other thing that we do is we actually have pictures in our kitchen area. We have a whole wall where everybody in camp has a photograph up, and our camp map is up, and so there's like a grid on it. So you can say if you're looking for Steve, that's his picture. He's at 8 and 6, and they go to find their map, and that way they can find where they are in camp. So we don't have people wandering around in camp going, well, I'm looking for Joe. Well, if you want to find him, go in the kitchen. Do you have a bracelet on? No. Here, come with me. And you walk into the kitchen. Right. Which ones? It's real easy to catch people.
Comment over here.
So, single female, 13-year vet. How do you keep your females safe? Because you can still do that. You can get stalkers.
We have stalkers. We have. I mean, our camp is.
I'm being really honest. This is something and I've been out there 13 years as a single girl.
My hats off to you. It's difficult, and our whole camp is about consent. I mean.
Understood, but if you have photo ideas with names and you say where their trailer is or their tent is,
we've done that. Some people choose to remain blind. We've done that in our camp, and some people just choose to not be represented on the map.
Yeah, we don't. For some reason, we haven't had anybody raise that in camp, at least as far as I know.
Okay.
We always have. I mean, we have 175 people in camp. Our dome shift is between 8 and 12 people, but there's always people in camp, and so. We are very aware that if you see someone in camp that doesn't have a bracelet on, we go find out who they are, what they're doing there. Are they looking for somebody specific? And we don't do it in a sense of like, hey, what are you fucking doing here? It's like, here, let me help you.
Yeah.
We always try to be friendly to people. Exactly. And it's really interesting that when somebody's legitimately there, they're really happy to get the help. But if they come up, oh no, I got this, or it's like, I'm just looking in the store. Sorry, this is a closed camp. We don't let people in.
Comment over here.
In 2017, I'm pretty sure everybody that went that year probably heard on the radio about the bikes getting stolen, the renter bikes, the yellow bikes. Anybody familiar with that? That was a banner year for theft. And the only way that we were able to help and be aware was communication through the radio. So as far as like your bikes, and it is your sole responsibility, but when a community like the Yellow Bike, rental place had hundreds of bikes that were stolen that year, 2017, it was a big deal. That's where the community needs to.
That's when the 4,000 bikes were abandoned on the bike.
Yeah,
it was the same year. It was bad. It was bad. No, as a matter of fact, I come from a bike repair place, and so they were loaner bikes. So they were not free. They're loaner bikes from an actual huge camp, and had hundreds stolen. And what happened was people came onto the playa, stole these bikes, and tried to repaint them on the playa.
Wow. These are the community bikes?
They are the community bikes, but people do try and take them.
It was a huge thing. I mean, I come from a bike community, so it was.
Something at camp was like, that's where we're going to solve a bird problem.
But 2017 was really
as an LMT education camp for bikes, to not leave bikes on playa, got a huge tip: have all of your campers put their name and playa address on their bike. Or you can come to our camp and we give out LED bicycle flags where you can write your name and
actually that is making name tags for everybody for their packs and for their bikes is for the out of state, out of the country campers. Yeah, like, okay, can you make beautiful, obvious name tags for everybody with our address, with your,
You see something shady, you go to a ranger. You suspect something shady happening. Speak up, say something. Don't turn the other cheek. It's just like move. Don't just look at it and go, I'll come back this way and pick it up. Be proactive.
It is really important that you guys lock your RVs, and if you have an itch issue, take them, put them in the bellies of your RVs. If you have locking, storage containers, lock them. I walked back to camp one night and I saw some guy going through my tool box.
About rangers too, we had a situation like I mentioned that someone was in our tent. I mean, they were passed out. They weren't trying to do anything malicious. They were disoriented. My husband sent him out into the playa, and I'm like, no, if you find somebody, you have to send them to a ranger. Bring a ranger to that person. That person needs help. And so that is,
I totally think that for whatever reason, my husband and I joke that we attract green dots because we know how to deal with them and how to get up the ladder.
Exactly. They're gonna go out and victimize someone else. You gotta get them help.
If we ever actually get out of camp, it's usually come to us and we spend our we actually got out of camp and left the kids to have our night out dealing with shit, and that's fine. It's part of our process. But we wanted to just say to you and the whole feeling safe and how you do it.
Absolutely.
We in our process of hey, who are you looking for? We will take notes. We're really good about taking notes. Sometimes I'll write it on my hand. And on with people in tents, it's a little bit harder. But for the RVs, we have a whiteboard. So we inside of our kitchen area, we have a whiteboard where we leave notes for people in tents. But on the RVs, we made a little a magnetic whiteboard with a pen that we can write.
So I do that. So my playa name is actually in vinyl on my trailer. And so, but you have to know my playa name. So it's okay, right? And I'm kind of in the front of our camp.
You gotta get past me.
Well, we're getting a little off topic.
No, but I'm saying, but these are when you're talking about really open camps. And I was out there in tents for years. So when you're looking at open camps, when you do not know your community of your camp, if you're a 40-person camp, it's not as bad. We're 85-ish. At 175, that's huge. When we were over 125, there was no way I knew everybody in our camp.
At 85, I'm the only person in the camp that
I
knows
don't
who everybody
I don't know everybody.
Right, so these are the things when you're talking about, so when we're looking at aesthetics and we're looking at being open, there's still, as the city gets bigger and bigger and bigger, there are safety issues that we really need to think about with regards to theft for person. You talk about green dots.
Thing of our belief around what that was and how we closed it off, and we were like, "But this is safer." When we opened it up, we stopped having any issues with theft.
Because it's all public.
It was more visible.
It became, it's like a psychological thing, right?
Anybody could see me,
But it also activated everybody in our camp to be even more accountable with their eyes, to be on. Even if they weren't the mom, they're still on, and how you talk to people in your camp, and this. Sometimes,
it was a non-issue issue.
Yeah, it was a non-issue issue, and I was well, ain't that a bitch? I never thought that would have happened at all.
All right, comment from over here.
Yesterday, someone mentioned a theme camp network, and what I'm wondering, with all of our great pro tips, is there going to be a way to maybe have like on the theme camp organizers Facebook page, having categories where you'd have a curb appeal, safety, and that way we could then be dropping in our pro tips for each of those areas.
There's a files tab on the theme camp organizer.
There is, and it drops all that.
Captain Ron has the captain's logs, which have all. He's been publishing tips like this and updating them for years. It's like 4 or 5 years now, and anybody can publish stuff in the TCO files thing.
Are there any other websites or URLs that would that
so
are gonna?
So as the CDS team, which is new on this, we're actually a year.
Yes.
It's now a year. We're part of what we're doing is launching the Camp Network. So you can come to us at the Camp Support and and we're also, the Camp Resource Guide. I don't know if anybody had looked at it in years. I hadn't, but we were like, we really need to revamp this thing. Well, listen, there was stuff in there that was nobody had touched it in years. So we've taken that on too. Like the Camp Resource Guide is now current and relevant, and we're adding even more. And from the branch of that is the Camp Network. So you can holler at us if it doesn't end up being part of URLs and links in the resource guide. You can email us. We're building this branch of hey, I really need to figure out how to do X, Y, and Z. And we're like, oh, here's the network of the camp that's doing the X, Y, and Z, talking amongst yourselves,
and collaborating,
which I really want to get in your brain and start to get a lot of this, bullet point.
I keep it all in a Dropbox that I share with TCOs.
Yeah, so we have about 15 minutes left, and I know that there's resources that all of you have that you could talk about and share. Were you able to add anything to the Pathable event, any of your links to share? Because I know if you want to tell the group about all the resources you have available, so you Dropbox and whatnot.
Yeah, I just have a Dropbox for the theme camp organizers. People are curious about how we organize our containers, and so I just have all of our basically Google Drive, the things that are useful to you, not our attendance and unpaid dues and all that crap, but just the stuff that's kind of repeatable is all in a Dropbox folder. I didn't have a way to. I don't know how to attach it to this.
Is it on your Facebook page, maybe, for your camp's page?
You just email me disco@Camp Corny.
And Corny is the K or C?
C.
I love your resource, the ticket resource thing. Whoever does those infographics.
Oh, those are so good.
Yeah. No, I don't get any questions anymore about it. When do tickets go on sale? It's FOMO week, right? Is it?
Yeah, we have
the FOMO sale week.
Infographic designer in our camp, and she does infographics, and they seriously reduce the amount of questions that come in.
I might be able to add the links if you don't mind, because you sent me the links. I'll try to add them to this panel agenda. That way, everybody that came to the session can see. Because Camp Corny does have a lot of really great resources about containers and how they're doing.
And we publish as well on our wiki. We've got all of our best practices on how we tie our shape structures to every historical urban plan that we've had. So that's all at disoriented.com too. And there's a ton of resources there, and we can dig in deep. And we're very open and transparent with our own campers, and I'm happy to share. So that's
it's disorient.info.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. But .com, doesn't that direct you? I don't know. I think so. But yeah.
Any questions? We do have a little more time, 15 minutes.
Well, I run a water bar, and we found that the best way to get traffic is to be right before the porta potty, so that people come out. and every second year we end up being parked right across from the porta potty. So this RV wall is now a green or blue, RV the porta potty wall. It's downwind from us always. But it's terrible optics. It's not lit. It's just you have the two blue lights on the end and do nothing. But and so I was thinking that I need to find your contact for those panels so that we can put something up there that will just make the aesthetics look good from inside looking out.
This is something that I would really like to add to the resource guide from CDS. Laszlo, if you would send an email to campsupport@cambias, I would love to collect information, because this is a collective effort to find multiple solutions artistically. I would love to put this specific point of topic into a resource guide for people to go to.
if you really want to blow a bunch of money on something,
don't go to Burning Man.
A buddy of mine has an art card. You've probably all seen it. It's not that big. It's a large cube. It's about the size of that door, and each side of the cube has an LED mat on it.
Right.
And it is you can see it across the ply. It's fucking ridiculous, but it's programmable. And he's got a little laptop, and it can make all these amazing shapes. It can do video. It can do all sorts of stuff. But they're about 30 grand a mat.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I looked into, and
That's
it's like,
a lot of cherry trees.
I'm like, that's definitely
we had someone offer to buy us 2 of them, and it's like, well, that's awesome, but where? You know, we got.
You sent my kid to college instead.
I know.
And Candy, I don't know if you guys were thinking about this with those trees. How many people do you think are going to use it as a bike lot? Like, hey, let me just park my bike. Like put their bike around them type thing. Like, because people break their stuff all the time.
Really good point. See, this is
Hopefully
why
not.
the playgrounds are amazing. Punching holes in
Put some 12-volt candle fencing on.
That's a really good point. I mean, the only thing I think of how we run our camp is, we have hole cutters, and we'll just be dealing with that. And if,
I was thinking like breaking too, like
for 10 bikes that we've got to schlep off playa because of it.
But if people are leaving, bike, just say that. If people,
you tie your bike here, you just donated to camp.
But yeah,
bikes leaning on are going to break up.
Some kind of message or something, yeah.
We had hundreds of bikes just left in our camp. Hundreds of them. Yeah.
Right across the street.
It's a frontage.
Yeah.
And we are still trying to figure out a solution to this. If anybody has ideas, like we try to gently ask people to move their bike, but if one bike shows up, it's like a horrid infestation. It turns into 1,000 in less than 5 minutes. And we will literally ask people, please, move your bike. And if we move it, sometimes people will attack us.
Yeah.
Be like, you're stealing my bike, this and that. We're like, no, we're just putting it on a bike.
Get off the street.
And
you guys are on the Esplanade.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter how much. We can have blinky signs and people with large strobe things telling you, bike lot over here. They still park it right in the middle of our frontage.
Our problem is if our neighbors don't have enough parking and we get their neighbors' bikes.
Yeah.
So we will talk to our neighbors if we notice there is no bike parking, and we'll talk to them about how much interactivity they are planning to come and when their bikes are coming, because else we have to plan something different, or else we can't do it. It's just the talking, it's the communication. Yeah.
We have 2 people, so when you first come into the camp, you have this bike parking area all around the camp, but right on the corner is where our sort of entrance to going in is, and we have 2 people out there the whole time. And if they see somebody move a bike in the street or someplace else, they don't let them in. It's like, you gotta go move your bike and they'll let you in.
And they try to make it fun. They're like 2 barkers out there sometimes. It's just like a fun
velvet hammer.
Yeah. It's fun to listen to, because people look at you like, wait, are you talking to me? And you got a bullhorn right in their face. Yes, move!
I think we were in Equinox camp for 15 years, and that, I think, and it's grown and evolved as part of the course of I call it iron fist. You suck and this is why, I'm going to do it with aloha, but while I'm moving your bike. But I think it's actually part of a more systemic issue that goes back even further, and we do have the RVs that are people have delivered to our camp, which is going to be greatly reduced this year, but we made a rule that those people coming in RVs would do the airport, they don't get a bike. Because what I felt like systemically, and why there were so many freaking bikes left on playa, is the RV vendors that are coming in, the people that are flying in, they get these bikes, they're not, there's not a connection to it. Education, there's no accountability to it, and that was leading to the problem. And I'm like, well, right there, that's that's 60 bikes from our camp that are just not going to happen. So,
What's interesting about it too is now they want to add these trash bins with it.
Dude,
people always leave the trash.
That's the whole core competency in the event that we're talking about here.
So with just a few minutes left of the session, I think that all of us are here because we're trying to be part of the solution. Just kind of something to think about. The people that aren't here, that are really like those giant, drinky production camps, how can we as a community, what can we do, just thinking forward, how can we educate those people that are not here? Any ideas?
My camp has a history of having a lot of problems. In fact, 2 years in a row, we were the most requested camp not to be next to. And one of the things that we did was we made it a point to change ourselves, going around to our neighbors and introducing ourselves to our neighbors.
Yes.
And when you do that, the best response that we ever had is not go to the neighbors, go to the neighbors and bring them back to your camp.
Bingo, that's what we do too.
And when you do that,
Sunday meet.
naturally with that, we started showing people in our camps what we do. And in return, the conversation just like this, and it's supposed to be about decorating RVs, we talk about all kinds of other things. Meeting your neighbors, when you bring them into your camp, you start talking about all kinds of other things, and you start showing what you do. How many years do people go and use rebar without knowing ice grips? And how did that spread?
I'm curious, what camp are you from?
Yeah, so we know where not to
So we know who to request.
What camp are you in?
Camp Monkey Business.
Thank you. Two things.
Our guys love your camp. All of our people in our camp just would rather hang at your camp.
That's a good sign. I made a mention of like knowing our neighbors in advance, because of maybe being able to program, say hello, reach out. At Beach Charge, we have this huge shade structure. I was talking to Simone, who's on your committee, about maybe having like a town hall, like a town hall gathering of that neighborhood, of like a meet and greet and conversations, and then talking so we can see what's happening in everybody else's, during that week. So we're going to see about how to do that.
So the CDS cultural direction setting team, and the CDS camp support development team. We're both having, they're thinking about that, and we're thinking about that too, because it's like, that needs to happen. We do the same thing where we go around and meet our neighbors, especially because we've had two sides of RVs. And because the perception of that, like, you're not those asshole people. And, we do the same thing of
sharing all that love energy.
Come hang out,
Right?
But,
comment over here.
When you had said, how do the big production companies and how do we educate them? Well, it's not protesting, but if we don't encourage them and don't go to the things that they are bringing to the playa, then they won't keep coming back. So if you don't like the way, not the turnkey per se, but the big corporations you're talking about with the big RV walls and stuff, don't go to that camp. If they're offering something that you think is corporate and horrible, you stand up and say, I'm not going.
But we aren't their customers. We aren't their customers. Their customers are not in this room.
The customers aren't.
Right.
And they're not in this
But if we're talking about our culture, though, we are that culture, and more people are our culture than that culture. And if we as a culture stop doing it.
Final comment here.
Just by a show of hands, how many camps in this room make everybody at the camp do something?
And participation is how you come back.
I'm just saying that's kind of what makes it hard.
I'd never make anybody do it.
Well, I mean, I know, but as a requirement of being on camp, participation definitely.
Look, the org took a stance and put a hat on the stake. Do we need a second one? Of where the line is, in the turnkey or what?
We need a second one and a third one and a fourth one, and it's going to go on down the line. It's not. Don't kid yourself about that.
Well, my saying it is, I'm saying this because I've been for years of this is a conversation and this is a direction that needs to happen. We need this team. We need to put a camp survey squad out there that can go around and check to see if camps are doing what they said they were going to be doing. We need to, in the placement questionnaire, be tracking analytics of camps and what resources they're using so we can see what we're dealing with and identify. Well, I don't consider myself a plug and play. We're not making a profit. But guess what? I got an email from OSS. My camp's still part of it. Now that we're raising the bar, my camp's part of the problem. Do you know how crushing that is for me as a person to be part of this bigger picture, to be like, holy shit. I think as a community, and we're going to raise the bar and we'll, we got this. We'll evolve. But
I want to contribute to this for 1 second. So our first year, we brought Thor in from Opulent Temple to help with our power grid. And we have some big military trucks that are complicated to run. And we had a transformer, 1,000-pound transformer, came in on a flatbed. And we went to heavy equipment and we asked if we could get somebody just to help us for 90 seconds drop this 1,000-pound block of copper. We went twice and we asked very nicely. Actually, I think we sent topless girls over to ask that question. And DGS came out the second year and it said, if you didn't get DGS, let us know. And we came back and said, oh, well, your camp's in bad standing. And one of the reasons was you put too many demands on heavy equipment. And so we said, well, no, we really didn't. And you actually never did help. And we actually did very stupidly get 15 guys to try to drop this thing down. But our solution was, we went and bought a forklift, solved the problem, and we have continued to take that radical, self-reliance to probably an extreme that is far beyond what anybody should. But now as you look at, our camp, and I want to go back to this issue of what is plug and play, what is turnkey, because you look at our camp and it's like, we painted everything flat black, not white. And so people are like, oh my God, you're this corporate camp. It's like, no, we just are all, look at the average age of people in this room. We're not 20. Yeah. We have jobs, we have resources. So I started at Opulent Temple, Sid's camp. And Sid's camp, who was the biggest out speaker of White Ocean when they launched, right? In reality, my first year, I paid somebody for a meal plan, somebody for camp fees, somebody for power in the camp. I mean, everything that is considered the component of a turnkey camp that Sid whined about, in fact, that camp offered. And our camp does that as well. We have a power grid to run all these big trucks and our refrigeration. We have a consistent paint theme. Are we plug and play? Is that an attitude? How do you define it? How many camps have a meal plan or a camp kitchen?
I'm saying that I want to just add to this.
Yeah, we have to end this now.
You can be ended and you can walk out the room, but if you want to actually take this conversation like a little bit longer, another 5 minutes, stay. Here's my thing, and being part of the problem, and we'll be shifting in part of the solution, is this. We're looking at a scope of what we've identified so far as an issue. We need to identify even more and get into the details of what is okay and what is not. I can only speak from experience of like, we're not making money off of our camp. Is everybody acculturated in our camp doing shit? Fuck yeah, and loving it. So what is it? We're relying too much on OSS because we've been able to, but now it's an issue, and that puts us in the category of being a comfort camp. You can't umbrella comfort camp plug and play turnkey is this big thing in a community that I feel like needs a serious education around it, because what is equally as toxic to me is the coming for each other with the pitchforks and the tiki torches. That is equally as toxic. It's not us versus them. It's not a rich versus equal. So I say that in like there's more to identify, and I'm outing myself because I feel like there's a lot of the weenus in here that doesn't want to out themselves because they're afraid. I'm not scared. It's none of my business what any of you think of me. I answer at a higher source beyond the 10 principles, and I'll rise to the occasion. You know what I mean? But I think it's systemic, and it's the growing pains of where we are.
Well, it's like what was mentioned yesterday in the big forum was the behaviors. Behaviors. Judging. And that's the line.
But judgment and perception.
That's the line.
Perception.
Yes.
I welcome you all to continue this discussion, but this time is over. I'd like to thank the panelists, Candy Ash and Terry. There's a 30-minute break. You're welcome to keep talking, keep bouncing ideas off one another. Thank you all so much for coming.